Guys who actually bought the "you won't last 5 minutes playing this game" from the ads from adult videos. What was it? What happened? Was it a scam? Lol, I know someone who did, who happened to be a girl, which I found surprising. She said she almost immediately got a phone call from her bank, said her account had been locked due to suspicious activity, and they asked her about the charge, and she is like, "Oh gosh, no, I would never," and was super embarrassed about the whole thing. Lol. I didn't buy it because I heard it puts a virus on your device that causes you to only type in caps. Absolute scam. Edit. My first viral comment. Thank you guys, and thank you for the award. I was curious myself, so I used my privacy.com account to create a $1 card. Enough to get approval, but that's it. When I created the account and got access, the website was basically a GeoCities website with a series of this or that images. Which do you prefer? That was the game. But I did, in fact, get screwed. Well, attempted to get screwed. Thanks privacy. In a matter 1 to 2 days I had over $750 in fraudulent charges attempted against that card. It all got declined, of course, but it was interesting how fast and how varied the charges were. $6.83 here. $22.37 there. They just kept coming, hey, all day long. So, yes, it's a scam. The game was 4 minutes long. What's a dead giveaway that someone has low intelligence? Often wrong but never in doubt. They tell you about the time they scored 450 in an online IQ test. They think they're always right. Not curious, open to learning. Instead of having a good point in an argument, they call you names and insult you. A lot of comments here describing mean, rude, asshole, low IQ PPL. Some low IQ PPL are extremely kind and have a tough time in society because they get used. No critical thought. I knew a lady who got suspicious of the donkey charity adverts on TV because, if they're helping new donkeys, why are Wreathy still showing the old ones? Edit. Thank you for the upvotes. I am howling at the comments. You guys are brilliant. Bravo. Hands clapping. Poor spellcasting ability, below average investigation and arcana checks. They don't just not take the time to listen to other opinions, they actively shoot them down. The tricky part is that people can be extremely smart in some areas while being completely stupid in other ones. So there is no universal indicator, I believe. What is a fairly common sexual practice that you consider disgusting and why? Okay, so this thread is 95% ass related. You can stop scrolling if you're reading this. Edit. I expected this comment to appear at least a little farther down in the thread, but you get ithahaha. Of all things, when she says my name, tears of joy because I know my FK in name, and when I hear it, I instinctively assume someone wants something from, but I'm already giving her all I got. Deleted. There are no limitations to my degeneracy. Daddy. I don't want to think about my dad during sex, ew. No idea how common it is, but simultaneously eating food and having sex kinda grosses me out. Can understand a square of chocolate or a nibble of something tasty, but that's where I draw the line. Anal without preparing beforehand. I mean, all do it can be fun, but when a guy wants it suddenly or without a shower and prep and lube, absolutely not. I have a perfectly good vagina. I don't know if it's common in real life, but in porn after an anal scene the person will suck the cock that was just up their ass. That's just nasty. Spitting in someone's mouth. I gag anytime I see it. Calling me daddy, but not letting me call you son. Are we role-playing or not? I've read somewhere that there's a phenomenon that makes you harder to discuss the hornier you get. It may partly explain some practices. I googled it and it's what I got. Sexual encounters imply exposure to stimuli that in other contexts typically elicit disgust-induced avoidance. To explain why people nevertheless tend to show sexual approach, it has been proposed that heightened sexual arousal may temporarily inhibit disgust. Source. Holding hands. What is wrong, you degenerate bastards? I bet you do it in public too sometimes. Abominations, the lot of you. How is the average American coping right now when 61% of us are living paycheck to paycheck? I've moved up. Now I live direct deposit to direct deposit. Just wait for student loans and childcare expenses to hit at the end of the month while interest rates continue to climb. People are not going to be okay for much longer. You see, I've been paycheck to paycheck most of my life. I am what you call old poor. I know how to make it on the bare minimum, less if needed. I feel for all these new poor that are in for a rude awakening. Things aren't getting better. How would you describe depression to someone who's never had it? For me, it was fatigue that was so intense I would avoid even going to the bathroom for as long as possible just to stay in bed. The second thing was this dark awareness that there isn't really anything that I'm longing for that would make a difference. For example, when you have a flu or something and you lay in bed feeling like crap, you know that in a couple days you will feel better. When I was depressed, there was no relief to look forward to. No light at the end of the tunnel. I couldn't think of a single thing that would make me happy. Edit. I can't believe how many people have responded to this and not because it isn't a common issue. I'm shocked I have worded my answer in a manner thought has resonated with so many, and I hope you find your way to a better life just like I did. Those who have experienced the same despair are so eager to help that it is heartwarming to see all the effort and advice in the comments. Imagine that you get up one day and spend that day doing one of your favorite hobbies. You get to hang out with your friends, doing things you love. There's good food and nothing bad happens that day. Heck, let's even imagine the weather is perfect. And at the end of that day, doing all the things you love around the people you like in the best possible way, you feel average. Okay. Not awful. That's one big part of depression. It's not that you feel sad. More often, it's that the whole range of your feelings shifts downward. A normal person feels bad sometimes, feels good sometimes, and feels okay or average most of the time. Depression shifts that whole window down, so that your best day is okay, your worst feels awful, and most of the time, you're hurting. And if you're like most people, your brain is this amazing pattern matching thing with no off switch. Normally, if you feel angry or tired, you start looking for a cause. Oh, I forgot to eat breakfast, or I was really hoping my boss would like my proposal, and he didn't, and then things make sense. But if you're depressed, you feel awful all the time for no clear reason at all, and over time, that alone is pretty distressing. I've said it before, feeling fucked up when you're in a fucked up situation doesn't mean you're a fuck up, it means you're a human being. If your dad has dementia and your mom can't walk anymore and you just put down your dog, you should feel awful, but when dad's got caregiver and so does mom, and you have a decent job and your spouse loves you and you still feel awful all the time, that's depression. And your tireless pattern matching brain eventually says stuff like, hey, why don't you blow up your job, marriage, friendships? That why at least the way you're feeling right now will make sense. Or, if things go on long enough, your brain will say, we're hurting all the time. We tried doing things we like, and we still hurt. We tried not doing things, and we still hurt. So clearly, the reason we're hurting is that we're still existing. What if we could change that? Like being more bored than you can possibly imagine, but also not being able to imagine a single thing you actually want to do no matter how hard you try, including thinking and breathing. Everything matters too much and nothing matters. It's different for everyone, but for me it's being tired all the time. You have moments when maybe you feel okay, but as soon as you start something you're tired. Just so tired. Edit, for spelling. What's a dead giveaway that someone doesn't have a life? Being me on here looking for things that I'm guilty of doing. The lady in my office who monitors how long everyone has been away from their computer. Starting workplace drama. My manager gets mad at anyone who takes time off and complains about them the whole time they are gone. Sorry, you don't have a life, other people do. Maybe you should try it sometime. They talk about high school all the time. I swear I've seen this same post a few weeks ago. Which means I'm way too much on Reddit, so that. Worrying about what others do with their life. I think if someone is obsessed with what someone else does, they don't have anything in their own life going on. What was a fact taught to you in school that ended up being disproven during your lifetime? Cracking your knuckles causes arthritis. When I was a kid, the giant squid had never been captured or photographed, and some people talked about it like it was El Chupacabra. My little brother always said he'd be the first person to get footage of one. Sadly, it has since become an ordinary animal that we know exists. Rip the Kraken. From an educational film strip, Saturn has 4 beautiful rings. The Voyager photos of the thousands of rings had come in like a week before we watched this. Your tongue has different areas for tasting different tastes. Sweet on the tip, sour on the sides, bitter in the back, etc. I feel like this was some elaborate prank played on my generation. But I remember seeing this in my elementary school biology textbook. I don't even think it was disproven. Like, they just stopped telling this lie. WTF. Food pyramid. That I was going to be offered free drugs all the time. I had a teacher in 4-th grade that would force left-handed kids to write with their right hand. She said that it was the normal way to write and would benefit them later in life, circa 1974. So many things. The lifetime of facts is shorter than you'd think. Among them, you use 10% of your brain, was in a textbook, model of the atom, what composes a healthy diet, various histories from how dinosaurs looked to what life was like in the Middle Ages, causes of ulcers, poor vision, acne. Are you intentionally trying to get my generation riled up about Pluto again? Lol. What are some of the bad parts of sex that people don't talk about? That feeling when you're about to ask to change positions because you're exhausted and your back is about to give out, and then she says, faster. Don't stop. It's a strange mix of horror, despair, and sheer fucking will. That in each and every long-term relationship, one partner has a stronger sex drive than the other, and that sucks for both of them. A partner visibly not enjoying it. Excruciatingly embarrassing. My girl just told me that she doesn't like to tell me when she is about to come during oral cause a solly end up speeding up or whatnot and the algorithm would have made her bust. Since knowing thoughty do try my best to fight the urge to speed things up when she actually tells me. Personally feel like this tip would help out a lot of relationships. Stiffened jaw and tired tongue from giving oral but knowing you can't stop because she's close smiling face with tear. Walking like a newborn deer after a longer session because sex legs.